Hello, everyone, and welcome to this post World Test Championship final podcast. And as you might have seen in the cover, we have changed the name finally, and it's not the top edge anymore. It's the Pavilion Perspective, and I welcome you all to the Pavilion Perspective. And the aim will remain same. We'll be honest, and we'll try to give raw perspectives. And to introduce everybody, joining me today are two gentlemen, Kanav Gupta and Pragun Mehrotra. Kanav has just passed his class 12th, and he'll be joining a college soon. And Pragun has completed his college and is already working with a company. So I welcome you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we'll start with the World Test Championship final. It ended a week ago. And what are your thoughts on the championship final?
Basically, I think we committed the same mistakes that we are doing since, like, whenever we play in England, it's the same old problem that our top order doesn't click. We have the same top order. If we look back in 2020-21, when we have the test series of, so in that the top order was same. It is almost identical that we have in the WTC Final Championship, and it just didn't click. Like you can see, Kohli, he didn't perform well. Then and let's come back to him later. Let's talk about the openers. They didn't give us the start that we required. And even though our bowlers gave us a chance in between to come back in the match, but we still kind of ended up on the wrong side. So,
So what I believe is that even though we had the same experienced top order, like we are hearing every day that this is an experienced top order and we can't give chances to youngsters in England because it is a difficult place for any batter. But the experienced batters are also not learning from their mistakes from past tours. Like Kohli, for example, like Kanav mentioned, that he played a shot that was not needed at that moment. He
Yeah,
was playing a shot which was, I believe he
way
could have
outside.
left the ball. It was eighth and ninth stump line, and it's not the first time he has done that. He has done that time and time again. Whenever there is a ball that could be left, he tries to play a cover drive, which I know that he has a lot of success because of that shot. But maybe he should have avoided, and he should have tried to get better at avoiding the need to play the shot.
True, but I
even
think,
even
yeah,
even though Ajinkya Rahane also, like, yeah, yes, he played well, but he could have avoided that shot in that second innings. I can understand that the first innings, it was a good catch of him. But in second innings, he could have avoided that shot even after he have seen Kohli getting out just before that. So
like you touched upon Ajinkya Rahane. I think I'll get back to Ajinkya Rahane. But as far as the match is concerned, I think India lost it on day one itself. We all know it. I think the problem is like there was a lot of conversation regarding the playing 11. But even if you played 13 players, forget about the 11. You have to play good cricket, right? India did not bowl well on day one. India did not bat well when they had the opportunity to bat. So I think it's ultimately we played bad cricket. It was not about the playing 11 or anything like that. I understand that the 11 was very experienced and they got out in a similar fashion. And I think that's where the question lies, right? We are playing with the same players and we are committing same mistakes again and again. So I think there is a time, like the time has come that we need to change. So yeah. And as we talked about Ajinkya Rahane, it's an interesting case because he was out of the team and everybody on social media, you see, is trolling Ajinkya Rahane, that Rahane should not be in the team. And finally, he was left out of the team. But during the IPL, when we got to know that Shreyas Iyer won't be able to play the World Test Championship final, Ajinkya Rahane was brought back, and at that point in time, it was a good decision because you did not have backup. But the problem is, why did you not have any backup? India did not prepare backups. As soon as Shreyas Iyer got injured, you were looking for answers. You did not have answers. So currently, we are praising Ajinkya Rahane, but see, if he fails in West Indies, the same people will start rolling him again. So that is quite strange, and that is the kind of perspective we try to bring with this podcast. Yeah.
it's
Like
basically the social media thing is kind of affecting the management system, I guess. In past, we have all seen that because Ajinkya Rahane was like, we go back to South Africa tour, he didn't perform well. And I believe if there was a better captain after Virat Kohli, he was him. I guess because we all seen his potential, but just because his form didn't click, so he got dropped. And when we don't
I
have a
mean,
backup, we
that's
are
how his
calling him.
career has been, right? Since 2014 or 13, you'll see he hasn't been very consistent. He'll perform in one or two innings in a series, and then he'll secure his place for the next series. And that's how his career has been. I don't know how the team did not see it, the fans did not see it, or even the player did not notice it. I mean, that's the main problem with him. Currently, we are praising him, and there are chances that we'll troll him after 1 month.
Yes.
So, like you said, that we lost the game on day one. I think that was an interesting thing that you said, because even I don't believe that the playing. Obviously, I would have wanted Ashwin to play,
Yeah.
but I would have wanted Ashwin to play in front ahead of Shardul Thakur. But I don't think Shardul Thakur was that bad choice. In hindsight, you can say Umesh Yadav shouldn't have played, but you can't go with Shardul Thakur as a third seamer. We all know it. It's too much responsibility on his shoulders.
Mm.
But what I think was that it was not just that we chose a weaker 11. I believe the 11 we had, we could have beaten them, or we could have come close. The thing is the lack of match practice. We had five players who were playing in the IPL final, which was for 3 days. It ended, I believe, on 30th May, 3
Yeah,
a.m.
31st.
We had 31st May. We had
Yeah.
Shubman Gill playing in that, KS Bharat, who only featured in one match as a substitute keeper for Vridhiman Saha.
Yeah.
That too in the second or third match for Gujarat Titans. I don't know what was the point of having him on the bench if he could have gone to a county and played 2-3 matches, but sadly we didn't have that option as well. Then we had Shami, who was playing in that match, and Ajinkya Rahane, Jadeja, all were playing in that match. I don't think they had much time to adapt to it. We could see Jadeja was not in his best form with the red ball in the final. And even Ajinkya Rahane, I don't think he should have been picked. Yes, like you said, we should have prepared backups, and because we did not have backups, we picked Ajinkya Rahane. But if you were picking him for a one-off test and like he performed, so you will pick him for the next series or maybe even series after that. But that is a very temporary thing to do. We should have someone like Sarfaraz Khan, Abhimanyu Iswaran, Jaiswal, guys like that, those in setup. And one more thing which I wanted to point out was that there is ego clash in the team. It is clear. Rahul Dravid told Vridhiman Saha to take his retirement, and then we all know what happened. Rishabh Pant got into an accident. KL Rahul got injured. I believe if Rahul Dravid had not said that thing publicly, then we would have picked Vridhiman Saha, who I would not say he was better keeper than KS Bharat, because KS Bharat did a fantastic job, but at least he would have been a way better batter than KS Bharat. We all knew that he was all over the place when he was facing the Australian bowlers.
But don't you think that would have been a step in the backward direction? Because if I'm not wrong, Wriddhiman Saha is 37 or 38, and that's what India did last year, right? After Pujara was removed, left out of the team, he scored a lot of runs in county, and he was brought back for that sole test in England, that 5th test match. I think that itself was a step in the backward direction, and getting Saha back would have been similar. You have been carrying Shrikar Bharat for a long time when Rishabh Pant wasn't in his top form, right? So in a way, Shrikar Bharat deserved that chance, I think.
Yeah, he deserved it totally. But we have been taking these backward steps off for a long time.
Well, basically, as Anirudh pointed out, we don't have that good backers with us, so we have to take that step backward. Like if we look at the playing 11, we don't have any choice left rather than to play those similar players that we have in the previous final against New Zealand. So
that the similar thing happened in the T20 World Cup as well in Australia. Mohammad Shami played the T20 World Cup in the UAE T20 World Cup.
Yeah.
And then he did not play a single T20I match for India, and still he was in the T20 setup because Bumrah was injured. So what happened to those guys who were playing the World T20 matches during those two World Cups? We don't show them trust during the big stage. The highest wicket taker for India and in IPL is Yuzvendra Chahal. He has not featured in a single T20 World Cup match. The guy has played for RCB in Chinnaswamy, and still he did not get a match. Similar thing happens in Test match also. Player perform in Ranji, but because the eyeballs are on IPL, everyone sees IPL form, so we pick the guy from IPL, even though it is completely different format.
You're completely correct around that. But that is how things are shaping up right now. See, I won't defend this selection based on IPL, but I think it is like a cherry on the top. You score runs in Ranji Trophy, but if you're not scoring in IPL, that's a different thing. But if you're struggling in IPL, that shows you're not ready enough to face bowlers who bowl 145 or 150 clicks. Like Sarfaraz Khan, he's been scoring a lot of runs in Ranji Trophy, but we saw he was struggling in IPL. Form is a different thing, but he was very awkward when he was batting against Nortje or somebody like those bowlers. So I think, yeah,
Well, basically, for this part, I can say that it has been a problem for us like for years. Like we've seen Mayank Agarwal, like he scored a lot of runs in domestic
yeah,
cricket and he got a chance like very late. And we all expected that he could have got the chance earlier. Even like a player like Sheldon Jackson, he didn't got a
yeah,
chance. But at some point he did not score runs now. Like
yeah.
he could have be consistent more.
In fact, I saw a
You are
tweet from Sheldon Jackson about some months ago or a year ago, very clearly, sarcastically mentioned that factor. Players about after 30 are considered old in India. So he took a sarcastic take on that age thing, and like you said. So, did anybody read that Ashwin's interview, which he gave to
yeah,
Indian Express?
I had a look at the interview. The interview itself shows that there are a lot of problems in the setup, and these are not small problems that he was talking about.
Yeah,
He said that the final was on 7th June. He knew 48 hours before that he was not going to play. And in a contradictory statement, Rohit Sharma on 6th June, the day before the final, said
yeah,
that we are going to look at the conditions tomorrow, that is the final day, and then decide who will play. So these are two contradictory statements, and if they go out in public, this just shows that there is a lack of communication between the captain and coach and the player. And I have a very interesting point of view on this. Like obviously, Ashwin was our leading wicket taker, and I wouldn't say that his form has been poor in overseas conditions. Like he was an instrumental part in our historic Border Gavaskar Trophy
yeah,
win. Even but in England, yes, there are historically he hadn't been the best in England. But why does this thing come only for the bowlers? He even mentioned that if a
yeah,
bowler is playing well and he's not playing well in a country, then he could get dropped, but the batter wouldn't get dropped. And you could see Khawaja was the leading run scorer for Australia, but he has been very poor in England, very, very poor, but he was still picked
yeah,
because, and this is a systematic thing. This happens in every country. It's not like just our country where
yeah,
this happens. When Australians or English people come to our country, they drop their fast bowlers for a young spinner who may or may not perform. But this happens, and that's what Ashwin talked about. He said that he was a great batter, and the only regret he would have when he hangs up his boot that he stopped batting and became a bowler, and that is a very sad thing to hear from your best offspring.
But I think this is more dominant in India. If you see, England came in 2016, they brought a young Indian batsman, Haseeb Hameed. He was not seen playing for England before that tour and after that tour. He was particularly brought for that tour. And as far as Australia is concerned, we've seen how much they rely on somebody like Peter Handscomb when they come to the subcontinent, and they don't play him a lot when they play outside the subcontinent. Like he was dropped from the squad and from the backups when they came for the World Test Championship final and the Ashes. So it's particularly more bad in Indian cricket. But Kanav, I would like to hear your perspective on this.
Well, I can say, let's like I can say for first point about the ego clashes and the management system. I believe there I can add one point on this. I was not happy with how Rahul Dravid said before the match. Like we would like to win, we would like to add one more trophy in the cabinet. I guess that's not the attitude you would like to keep when you're going into a final like this. And that too when you have lost one final against New Zealand. Even though you are not the coach, but still
Yeah,
you want to keep that vibe around you that yes, we are here to win. And for I guess and for the debate of Ashwin, I will say first of all that I can't say that because of him we lost the match because we can't say that only because of this that one player we have lost the match. But I would say yes, it was very important to drop a player and not have a proper communication with it. If we can't have a proper communication with a player like him, so what will the youngster would expect from a captain or the management to communicate with me? And this has been a problem for India. Like there is no good communication between the players and the management, even for the senior players.
hmm.
We leave the youngsters aside, but for the senior players also, we have seen a lot of interviews that there has been a miscommunication between the management and the players.
Okay. In the Ashwin topic, I have 2 points to mention. First is I hope you both agree with it that Ashwin should have played the match not because he's the world number 1 player, but because the pitch supported spinners, right? I think India misread the pitch, not on one occasion, but in the last World Test Championship final as well. In the last final, India needed 4th pacer, but they played 2 spinners. And this time, when the pitch was clearly evident, like it was clearly visible in the pitch that it's green on top, but it will get drier as the game progresses, right? So you needed that second spinner. Also, Australia had 4 lefties in the top 7, and we know which lefty scored the most in that match, right?
Yeah, even
The
Nathan Lyon
second,
got turned. Even Nathan Lyon got turned and got Jadeja out on the day
yeah,
2, I guess. Day 2 or day
Even
day 2,
even
day 3.
Jadeja got turned. When Jadeja gets turned, you know the pitch is favorable for
yeah,
spinners.
true,
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
He's not a
Otherwise,
big
Jadeja is a
turnover
bowler
ball, yeah,
who. Uh,
yeah,
and I would like to add on one thing, like Kanav mentioned on attitude. I strongly agree that we have a very bad attitude. If you would have seen the images after the final when Australia had won, there was a very interesting picture from on the celebration aspect. What they did was they brought their 2015 World Cup trophy. They
yeah.
brought their 2021 World Cup trophy. And when they won the mace, they had a picture together.
They had a photograph.
I don't think our guys would have carried that because they don't have that mentality that we are going to win. They had that mentality that if we are going in the final, we are going to win it. We are
That's
only
a
going to
really,
win
really
it.
good point.
And
Yeah.
this has been happening for a very long time. That whenever we face Australia in particular, we get scared, even
Yeah.
if we are in a winning position. This happened in the recently concluded Commonwealth Games. The Indian women team was up for the gold medal,
Yeah.
and we were in a very good winning position. But then we bottled it. But particularly, I would not call this a bottled match. I would say that India tried very hard.
Yeah.
The pitch was all the pitch and the conditions, even though it had favorable spin pitch, but the pitch and conditions always favored the Australian side. We knew that coming into the game, and so to get into a position where we thought we could get a win, I think that was very commendable. But then in the matter we got out, that was very poor. Like what happened on the day 5.
Well, basically, Australia played brilliant cricket, but we also didn't left any stone unturned to play a bad cricket too. Like we had a chance on the final day that we could have, no, if not win, but we could have draw the test match, or we could have thought like when we were in Australia, like in the last 2 test matches in Sydney and in Gaba. So we were not looking for a win on the final day at first place before the Rishabh Pant ride. We were looking to play them out. So we could have gone with that mentality in this final day also. And if we could have played for like 2 more sessions more, like if we could have played till the tea, we could have gone for the win if we would have wickets left. So there is a difference of mentality in this final.
True. And so yeah, and did anybody see Gautam Gambhir's interview? It was like really explosive.
Yeah,
He was,
but Gautam Gambhir is known for his explosive interviews.
Yeah, and
yeah,
so is
basically.
Ashwin.
So is Ashwin.
Ashwin is basically uses his brain too much, and Gambhir is like, I don't care. He's like, I don't care. I will just speak the truth, and he will not like back him off to give any of his ideas or opinions.
And I think what Gambhir said was really true, not because we want any rivalry or that masala thing between Virat Kohli and Gautam Gambhir, but he was really honest in that opinion that India has this problem of idol worshipping, and that is a big cause of our like problems. Like if you see, England were playing with under Joe Root's captaincy, and England started losing a lot of matches, but they removed him from the captaincy, right? And they brought Ben Stokes, and that shows that for England it's about winning and not about players, right? They could have continued with Joe Root because he's a part of Fab Four and all that, but they went with what was right for England cricket, and see where they are today.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
I guess.
The
Yeah,
thing is that because of IPL, the idol worshipping has gone on to a next level.
I agree. And well,
Broadcaster plays a
basically,
big role.
yeah. And basically, Gambhir do not want to fight. Like he has no rivalry with Virat Kohli. He has even praised Virat Kohli whenever he has performed good.
Yeah,
But basically, he was right. Like if you show them as your gods and as your idol, and you will just not see their mistakes, so that would be wrong.
yeah.
And you will just see the mistakes of the players who are not that have not that famous or have that popularity on the social media.
And I think that's what our podcast stands for, to be neutral and criticize when you are to be criticized and praise when you are to be praised. And today we are talking about problems. I think we should talk about the future of India in the next podcast, but currently we should continue with the problems. I think we've got a really good conversation as far as the problems are concerned. Kanav, do you see any other problems with the team as far as the World Test Championship cycle 2021 to 2023 was concerned?
Well, basically, as you pointed the backups point, I guess I would like to, if I am a selector and I would be asked to fix some problems. So first of all, I will look for the backup, and I will not go for IPL performances. I would deep my search to the Ranji Trophy players, because like we all have seen that they are continuously performing, but nobody cares about them so much. Just because they are not, either they are not part of a IPL team, or either they struggle to perform in IPL team. See, I understand your point that basically it matters. IPL matters at some point. Like, you have to perform just to show the selectors that you could perform at the bowlers who can bowl at 145, 150. But still, in the subcontinent, you can still consider the Ranji players who are good against spin. And so basically, and it's just not about batsmen, it's also about bowlers, that we should, like, yes, we have a good backup of pace bowlers in our country and even in our setup, but still we would like them to be groom more. So if we want to pick someone, even if Bumrah is absent for a more long time, if we want to pick someone who can bowl us 20 overs and get us 5 wickets, so we could pick this bowler. Like, we should have that list with us.
True. And Pragun, what are your thoughts on it?
See, I think there is a very big problem that most of us are missing out on. What is happening at the NCA?
True.
I don't think, like,
True.
there have been some players who have been truly members of NCA. Like, I think they have a room with their name on it. Washington Sundar, he was such a great pick in the Gabba Test match. Then he played, if you remember, against England and India.
Yeah.
He played a great knock where he missed out on his century.
Yeah.
What has happened to him? He has been having injuries. He has been playing. He has not finished the season and finished an IPL season, I guess, for 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
So what? And the same thing is with Shreyas Iyer. He has been getting injured. He missed out. He was booted out of the Delhi Capitals just because of his injury. He had an injury. He lost his captaincy, and then he lost his place in the team. The similar thing happened now with KKR. Nitish Sharma might take up his captaincy spot, if not the spot in the playing 11. And Jasprit Bumrah. If what I believe is that India, just because of this idol worshipping, there is also very big problem that we want our idols to play in every format.
Yeah.
If we like Surya Kumar
Yeah.
Yadav, we want him to play in Test match.
Test matches. Yeah.
And just because he played a Test match against Australia, he lost his white ball touch as well. The following 3 innings, he got 3 golden ducks.
First ball.
I mean, yes, it could happen to anyone, but for someone like Surya Kumar Yadav, who has been such a great touch for last 2-3 years, I don't think it should have. I don't think it could have happened to him if he had not played the Border Gavaskar match. There was no need for it. Why do you have to play a guy who has been a great T20 player? Let him be that. And I believe that we need to look at one format specialist. We gave that role to Pujara. He tried to play county. At least I would appreciate his efforts. Although what was he doing was completely irrelevant. Like, he played a shot that was not needed.
Yeah.
You are playing county. You shouldn't be playing that kind of shot. But
Yeah.
at least he's making some efforts. I remember once Ishant Sharma had gone unsold in IPL. What he did not sit back and did commentary in some languages. He went to England and played his county and got back into the red ball team.
Yeah.
So we have to appreciate these players. And there is the problem is that because we play a lot of T20 cricket, everyone knows that it is highly lucrative. Everyone knows that the money is brought by T20 cricket. So the BCCI can't go to Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma to say to them and that you have to give up your IPL contract. No one would do that. You are earning 15 crores for 3 months. And then there is Test match, which doesn't pay you a lot. I believe the per match fee for BCCI cricketers is 20 lakhs for a Test match.
Yeah.
That
15 to 20.
is almost 15 to 20 lakhs for a Test match. Why would they play a Test match when they have to play a 3 hours game of T20 cricket? But we need to appreciate players who are willing to do that. I know Cheteshwar Pujara might be playing one of his last tours or might have played his last match in the final. But we have to look at players and give them the space so that they could try to be the one format specialist or 2 format specialists. I think the amount of players we have, we don't use that well enough. Look at England. They had their problems in the 2015 World Cup. They lost to Bangladesh. But what they did, they had their pool of cricketers, and then they divided it into a proper system. They have a correct mindset to play the white ball cricket. They know you have to have all-rounders to win white ball cricket. And that is also a very big problem that we could get into the next episode in the future of our cricket, because there are 2 white ball tours, and I don't think that the 11 or the mindset that we have today I don't think with that mindset we could do anything better in that white ball matches.
That said, I think we should bring the curtains down on this episode. We'll surely talk about what needs to be done to correct all these mishappenings in Indian cricket, and we'll have a very detailed conversation about it. But we'll keep that for the next episode. With that, I'll wrap this episode up. Thank you for joining us. See you in the next episode. Thank you.